Most people misunderstand both types until they see what's actually happening beneath the silence. INTPs aren't indecisive. They're running a mental lab. INTJs aren't controlling. They're stabilizing variables. At first glance, they can seem almost identical. Quiet, independent, strategically detached. Both think in spirals. Both speak with precision. To the outside world, they move like mirrored minds. But under pressure, the difference becomes unmistakable. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. In the next few minutes, I'll show you 5 secrets about each type. Truth most people never hear, but instantly recognize once named. You'll also get a 10-second test that tells them apart under stress. And at the end, we'll name the one hidden trap they both fall into, the one that quietly sabotages connection until it's finally seen. First the INTP, then the INTJ. But don't separate them too early. The contrast is part of the key. Now let's step inside the INTP mind and uncover their 5 secrets. Secret 1, they don't chase meaning, they deconstruct it. Where most people search for answers, INTPs question the question. They don't just want a solution, they want to understand the scaffolding of the problem itself. Every assumption, every should, every hidden premise. What others call overthinking is often a quiet act of intellectual integrity. They're not stalling life. They're removing distortion, so decisions land on signal, not noise. Secret 2, they don't want isolation, they want intellectual intimacy. They'll protect their space, but what they long for is a shared mind, a place where curiosity outranks ego, where revision isn't punished, where ideas can evolve mid-sentence without being shut down. They're not arguing to win, they're trying to find the thought with you. When you offer that kind of space, you'll see them exhale. That's where depth begins. Secret 3, they fear being figured out too soon. They'll analyze you fluently, but resist being labeled themselves. Certainty about who they are feels like entrapment. Why? Because their identity is a live prototype. They need the freedom to update internally and socially. And that's not a quirk. It's the mark of a mind built for philosophy. INTPs aren't just thinkers. At their best, they are philosophical engineers, taking apart what most people take for granted. Even Heraclitus, one of the first real philosophers, said, "You can't step into the same river twice. It's not the same river, and you're not the same person." That's the INTP in motion, never static, always revising. So if you try to define them too early, you'll miss what matters most. If you want closeness, don't declare who they are. Ask who they're becoming. That's how you'll meet them. Secret 4, they remember emotional details but process them in delay. They might seem detached in the moment, but watch what happens days later. A subtle message, a quiet act, a pattern they couldn't name before, now reflected with clarity. They don't feel less, they feel differently. Detached isn't disinterested, it's post-processed perception. And if they've ever quietly adjusted their theory of you without saying it, you were being felt. Secret 5, their mess isn't laziness, it's parallel processing residue. The tabs, the notes, the half-built diagrams, they aren't procrastinating, they're tracking possibility across timelines. Early on, they privilege potential over closure. But when the logic locks, when the internal model aligns, they move fast. The chaos isn't failure, it's working memory, externalized. If you felt seen in any of this, subscribe now. It's not just content, it's connection. And it helps us keep building maps for minds like yours. Dissolving the structure to find truth? That's the INTP's path. But for the INTJ, it's about protecting what matters through systems, design, and mental architecture. Here's what most people never realize about how INTJs actually operate. Secret 1, they don't want control. They want stability of process. People mistake their precision for domination. But that's a misread. INTJs don't want to control you. They want the system to stop breaking. They stabilize variables, not to impose, but to reduce noise, so the vision can move forward without drama, derailment, or delay. When things stop spinning, they breathe again. Secret 2, their emotional intensity surprises even them. They may seem calm until they aren't. INTJs carry emotional signal differently. It builds up quietly, then all at once. Anger, tears, shutdown. Not frequent, but real. They're not suppressing feelings to be strong. They're organizing chaos while it builds. And sometimes the dam breaks before the logic finishes building the bridge. Secret 3, They long to be seen behind the strategy. They won't explain themselves unless you ask, but they ache to be understood. They don't want praise, they want pattern recognition. Notice the why beneath their structure, the care behind their silence. When you reflect back what they were trying to protect, not just what they did, they trust you. That's how you enter their inner room, quietly with accuracy. Secret 4. Their intuition isn't magic. It's compressed probability. When an INTJ says, "This won't work," they're not guessing. They've been running silent simulations, stacking patterns, testing outcomes, before you even saw the fracture. Introverted intuition sees deep structure, and once the math clicks, the explanation lags. They're not trying to say, "I told you so." They're just halfway through a thought you haven't entered yet. Secret 5. Their loyalty is quiet, earned, and long-range. They don't give their full mind easily, but when they do, it's precise and durable. The threshold is cognitive. Can you think clearly when pressure hits? Can you hold the long vision without needing constant reassurance? If yes, welcome to the inner plan. No declarations, no tests, just continued presence, inclusion, and trust. For an INTJ, that is intimacy. Now let's pull them together. INTP and INTJ side by side. INTPs dissolve the framework to reach clarity. INTJs construct the framework to protect vision. One refines the question, the other engineers the path. One maps the logic, the other walks the line. Together, they represent two ways of defending truth, one through inquiry, the other through architecture. So how do you tell the difference between them, especially under pressure? This is the 10-second litmus test. When stress hits, where does their certainty go? INTPs retreat inward, toward their dominant function, introverted thinking. They refine mental models, debug assumptions, and ask if the premise still holds. Logic before action. INTJs, by contrast, push outward, guided by their auxiliary function, extraverted thinking. They stabilize systems, adjust external steps, and reorganize the path to protect the long-term vision. One checks the blueprint, the other reinforces the bridge. Both are defenders of clarity in a world ruled by chaos. Now let's name a quiet trap they're both vulnerable to, and the fix that frees them. A good number of INTPs and INTJs already sense this risk, but even then, it can sneak in. The mind gets sharp enough to blur the line between thinking style and identity. INTPs may hesitate, believing they can't act until every internal model is flawless. INTJs may tighten their grip, treating deviation as betrayal of the vision. Not always, but enough to quietly sabotage connection, especially when others feel shut out from the process. The fix? Don't just refine the blueprint. Let someone into it. Set a time boundary for your internal process, but also name where you are in that process with the people who matter. Let them see how you think, not just the polished result. Ask not just, "Is this idea ready?" but "Is this a moment I can share?" That's how clarity becomes connection, and how mental sovereignty stops being a fortress and starts becoming a shared space. So let's bring it all together, because beneath the systems, the structures, and the models, there's a deeper mission at play. INTPs and INTJs share a rare mission: mental sovereignty. One protects it through questioning, the other through construction, and in a world obsessed with noise, speed, and performance, these two types do something radical. They stop, they think, they design. If you're one of them, don't apologize for how you operate. You weren't built to echo trends. You were built to create systems of truth. And if you've been walking alone for a while, there's a reason you found this. This is wisdom and happiness. We make videos for the ones the world misunderstands until the world catches up. If this helped you feel seen or gave you a map to understand someone you love, subscribe now. It helps us grow and helps you find more minds like yours. See you soon in the next video. Take care.